super excited. I'm here to talk about another book this time. This one's called 7 Strategies for Wealth and Happiness, and it's by Jim Rohn. For any of you out there that are looking to educate yourselves more on the subject of wealth and happiness, I think this is a really good book for you. So I'm gonna go through some of the parts that I marked on here that I thought were important. So I'm gonna just jump right into it. The book is actually separated into strategies, so each of the 7 strategies has its own part, but the first one is unleashing the power of goals. And pretty much what I took from this is that goals are what motivates people to accomplish certain tasks. So let's say that you have a goal of making $1 million in a year, or you have a goal of buying a home within a couple years. Define what it is that drives you to reach that goal and implement that in your strategy of kind of like helping you push yourself. Because if you just set the goal, sometimes you don't work for it as much as you were to if you know why that goal is so important. So really finding that dream that's really driving your goal, and not just saying I'm gonna get here because I want to get here in 5 years, but saying I'm gonna get here because of this reason within this time frame. And that really helps kind of like get there. I also marked a part that talks about like making goals work for you, so creating realistic goals so that you can get to them within a certain time frame, and having a plan that you can track so that you can alter as needed. Because a lot of the times we can set goals that are not really reachable with kind of like whatever we have going on, and that can really discourage us. But if you set realistic goals and you have a true purpose, like you have a true dream for why you want to accomplish that goal, it's a lot more easier. So the second strategy kind of goes into seeking knowledge, and I feel like this was one of my favorite sections from the book, because you have to kind of be humble to let yourself be taught and look for someone that has that knowledge that maybe you don't. So in here I just marked, because I feel like it really summarized this whole chapter, was you are what you read. And I think that also relates to you are a product of those that are around you. So if you are associated with you know, people around you that maybe don't share something with you that you strive to have in the future, then it's going to be much harder for you to achieve that, because you're not surrounding yourself with the right kind of crowd. It's really important to seek knowledge by making sure that you're reading awesome books, that you're ingesting good content, and that you're surrounding yourself by people that are going to help you kind of go towards that goal and not stop you because of fears or doubts or whatever. Let's see, another part that I marked on here was in the third strategy, which is learn how to change. And this part I feel like was really important to me, because especially when we're doing something new or something different, we don't have all the answers, right? And it's important that you learn that when you're trying something new or you want to change something, you're going to have to change, because that change will allow you to grow. And with that growth, you'll be able to accomplish your goals or your dreams much faster. Our mind is so powerful, and everything that we allow to go through it really determines how we perform. So the next part that I noted on here was on strategy 4 with controlling your finances. And I think this part is just so important, because a lot of us, including myself, struggle a lot with the feeling of insecurity, especially during times like the times that we're living in right now. There's so much uncertainty, and I'm grateful that I have a roof over my head, that I have, you know, food to eat every day. But I know that there are so many people out there that don't have all of those, you know, fortunes, or maybe struggling to see if they're going to be able to have them the next month. So I think this is a really important topic, and it's something that people should think about more often, because if your finances are not covered, they're going to be something that linger in the back of your mind and can stop you from, you know, doing whatever it is that you need to do if you're not mentored by the right kind of people. Of course, it also can be used the other way, where if you're struggling financially and maybe you do want to like have a business, or you want to make $1 million next year, having like that sense of insecurity can be a drive to push you through making sure that you work hard. But again, the books that you are reading are really important, and the associations that you're having are of extreme importance, because they will allow you to use that as a drive and not let it slow you down. So I just note on here, what I noted was the 70-30 rule. I'm not sure if you all are familiar with it. I could do a separate video on this, but pretty much it just talks about how to manage your money, how to manage your finances essentially. And there are so many different ways of managing your finances. I really recommend that if you struggle with that, do your research on different kinds of strategies, because we all work differently, our minds work differently. You just have to find the one that works for you. So maybe in the future I'll talk about the different strategies I've tried in the past and which one worked best for me. But I like that this book incorporates a finance piece in here, because that's super important. And then I also on here noted, this is part of strategy 5, which is mastering time. On here I noted the part about time effective organization, which I think is key. Planning ahead is important, because that gives you a realistic view of what it is that you need to do, how you can track your progress, and where you have time to alter or change things as needed. So whether you have a business, whether you are a student, whether you are working on a fitness goal, or whatever it is, you have to make sure that you are being mindful about your time management, and also having a good organization style to make sure that you know how you're tracking that. Because if you don't track, how will you know how far you've gotten, or how can you change things to get there faster? Because also that's key too. Just because you do something doesn't mean that you will get there when you have decided the time for it to be. Like if you set a goal a year from now, you have to make sure that you're tracking your progress, because sometimes we feel like we're doing a lot but we're really not doing as much as we could be. But if you track it, that's when reality strikes and you realize if you're doing what you need to be doing, or if you need to like kick it up a notch. So that's really important. And then also on here there's a part that talks about 4 ways of thinking on paper, which I think are so super important. Before I used to just read, highlight, or take notes on my phone. Now I share a lot of the books that I read with friends or family members, so I don't highlight on them. I just like mark the page with just like a little fold to like remind myself why that page was important. But I don't want to highlight anything, because I don't want to taint how other people ingest the content. I want them to take what they can from it and read it as many times as they want to get more from it if they want to. So I haven't really been a stickler about journaling, but I used to journal a lot. I'm trying to do it again. But for the most part, I read a lot of ebooks right now, so I just take notes on my phone. It's a lot easier for me, to be honest. But I'm trying to get back on the habit of journaling handwritten, because it's different when you read it. You're kind of like taking it in visually, and then if you write it down, you're kind of like reading it again as you're writing it, and the content comes through more than once. So make sure that you are documenting what you read, because that's important. And then the next thing that I marked on here was strategy 6, which is surround yourself with winners. And this was by far one of my favorite sections of this book, because it talks about just the importance of association. And the section starts with a chapter on it, and it asks you to ask yourself 3 questions, which is: with whom do you spend time with? What are they doing to me? So what are those people you're spending time doing to you? And are you okay with that association? And I think it's really important. I'm not going to read the other questions on here, because I feel like you should get the book yourself and just dive into it, but pretty much what it talks about is realizing who is in your environment, maintain those relationships that are good for you and adding value, and really disassociate from those that are not. Because if you are associated with people that are not adding value to you, or are maybe like stopping you from reaching a goal or striving towards a dream, they're not going to let you achieve that, because you're not, kind of like on the same track. So if you want to be a runner, hang out with runners. If you want to be, into your health, hang out with people that are health, I guess, mindful. If you want to have a really booming business, hang out with business owners that are actually doing really well, and not like just financially, but like in the same of like emotional intelligence and other aspects. But nonetheless, association is really, really important. And I think I've said this in some videos in the past, and I've said it even in this video, it's really important that you surround yourself with people that are striving towards things like you. It doesn't have to be the same goal, but as long as you are all striving for something and working towards it, it'll definitely play a role in how you perform. So I just love that part. And then strategy 7, which is learn the art of living well. It talks a lot about being happy with the process, because it is your life right now. And even though maybe you're seeking to change something, this is your process, and it's adding to who you are and who you will be in the future. So even if we're having a bad day, let's just appreciate that, because it's teaching us something. So I really like this part of the book, because it really kind of like makes you break out of a rut. And when you are having that bad day, just accepting that you have a bad day and then doing what you can to get yourself out of that mindset, it will really go a long way. But I'm grateful for where I am right now, because it's really allowing me to push myself to do things out of my comfort zone, like these kinds of videos. But I think it's all gonna be towards my benefit in the future, and hopefully it could be a benefit to any of you all that watch these videos or this content. The message here is just be happy where you are today and keep working to where you want to be tomorrow. So there's another part on here that talks about kind of like emotions, and it's kind of like, I don't want to go too into it because I don't want to spoil the book for you, but it pretty much just talks about like the day that things turn around, and like the day that you make the decision that this is a day that I'm done with whatever I want, whatever I don't want, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to get what I do want. So I mean, those are all the parts that I noted on here, but overall I really recommend this book. I feel like it has helped me a lot, and I read it a really long time ago, but I like marking the books like with just a little folds, because when I'm having like a rough day, or I'm doubting myself in something, I just pick up a book, any book that I've read, and just seeing like what I marked on it really helps me get out of kind of like that mindset. So I feel just like books are so key to anyone who's trying to develop themselves. And any book could have taken someone a lifetime, especially those people that take literally a lifetime to do research, and then all that they learned, they have it in a book for you to read in like less than a week. Some people even read a book a day, but isn't that so incredible that you could have so much knowledge just by reading a book? So you'll never get enough of me from books, because I just like to read so much, and I feel like it's the thing that keeps me sane when I'm having a rough day. So anyways, I'll leave it at here for now, and I hope that you enjoyed some of the parts that I talked about in this book. If you can get your hands on it, it's a definitely high recommend from me. But share with me what other books you've read that have made a life change with you. I'd love to hear about them. But for now, I hope that you have a really good rest of your morning, day, evening, whatever it is, wherever you are. And I will see you next time. Bye.